Welcome to Chapter 5 on Marketing Strategy. In this chapter, we have 3 key learning objectives. We'll answer several questions, including what is marketing strategy and how do marketing strategies relate to business and corporate strategies? What are the steps in the strategic planning process? And how did the steps in the strategic planning process relate to the elements in a marketing plan? We'll cover all of this and more in the following slides. Marketing strategy is defined as an integrated pattern of decisions specifying choices of markets to serve, market segments to target, marketing activities, and the allocation of resources to create, communicate, and deliver a product that offers value to customers and exchanges with the organization and thereby results in organizational goal achievement. If you take a close look at the definition, you can see that marketing strategy relates to our work as marketers. We're answering questions like which markets will we serve? What are the needs of those markets? Which segments should we target? How do we position the offer with a value proposition and competitive advantage? How should we design the offer to create the value we've promised in the value proposition? How can we accomplish all this such that we also achieve our goals and objectives? Some say it's difficult to define the word strategy. Any and all possible answers to these questions fall into the broad scope of marketing strategy. Corporate strategy is concerned with the organization's scope and direction, taking a portfolio approach to creating and earning value. Corporate strategic planning defines the corporate mission, identifies growth opportunities, and assigns resources. A mission statement is a clear and concise expression of the organization's reason for being. The statement guides the organization's strategic perspective. Organizations may also state a vision, which is an aspirational statement. For instance, IKEA expresses vision as to create a better everyday life for people. These statements are meant to be internal documents used to guide decision-making, but they also point to a meaningful purpose, something that can resonate with customers and serve as a foundation for brand meaning. You can see this in the examples on the slide. Business leaders are increasingly recognizing how a strong sense of purpose can help companies meet challenges, and some are even embracing what's been called purpose-led branding, which we'll discuss in depth in Chapter 11 of the book. The figure on the slide illustrates the relationship between purpose, vision, mission, and corporate sustainability efforts. Historically, strategy theorists have advised marketers to seek a strategic fit, which means to match resources to ambitions. However, companies that have disrupted industries and risen to positions of global leadership pursued stretch goals that were beyond their resources and capabilities. These organizations created a strategic intent, an obsession for winning that infiltrated every level of the organization and used innovation to change the competitive landscape. Each business in an organization's portfolio is a strategic business unit, also called an SBU. SBUs follow a business model, which is essentially the way an organization makes money. Business models have 3 key elements: a value proposition, a profit formula, and the resources and processes needed to deliver the value proposition. As we learned in Chapter 3, a value proposition is the promise of value customers will receive. The profit formula defines revenue expectations, cost structure, and margin contributions. The processes needed to deliver the value proposition are part of a system of interdependent organizational functions called a value chain. Though the functions are interdependent, each function will have its own specialized strategic plan as to how the function will contribute to the overall success of the business. Some functions may be outsourced, but core competencies will be nurtured. And at the operational level of the organization, tactical plans are developed for each plan element. Corporate strategists may use a business model canvas template like the one shown in the slide. A value proposition is an important part of the business model. It's essentially the promise of value customers will receive. In other words, it promises the benefits that we're offering if customers do business with us. The slide shows a value proposition canvas, which is a useful planning tool for identifying the specific types of value being offered. You can see that it helps to review the target customer's wants, needs, and fears, and then we can think about what it is that we offer, both in terms of the functional and emotional benefits being offered by our product. This slide illustrates the classic value chain. A value chain reviews the processes needed to deliver the value proposition as part of a system of interdependent organizational functions. You can see here that we have primary activities in the form of inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, and service. And we also have support activities that include the firm infrastructure, human resource management, technology development, and procurement. Marketing is part of the value chain. Whether planning marketing strategy at the corporate, business, or operational level, there are commonalities to the concept of strategy. These include strategy as perspective, which refers to the direction strategy takes, strategy as position, which refers to competitive advantage, strategy as pattern, which refers to the design strategy takes, and strategy as plan, which refers to strategy as a roadmap for the organization. Ultimately, strategy answers how questions. Strategic planning is the process of analyzing the situation, identifying objectives to accomplish, deciding how to accomplish those objectives with specific strategies and tactics, planning for implementation, and defining how effectiveness will be assessed. Why should we take the time to plan? Some experts warn that the strategic planning process acts as a feasibility sieve and can result in recipes for marketing strategy. These recipes limit ambition, innovation, and future competitive advantage. But despite these warnings, there is tremendous value in planning. Planning ensures that an organization understands its markets and its competitors. It helps to ensure that organizations are aware of the changing marketplace environment. It provides for assessing contingencies, which are if-then scenarios that could occur and influence the likelihood of success. When organizational partners participate in the planning process, they are better able to communicate and coordinate activities. Planning requires that objectives are set and agreed upon, which improves the likelihood of those objectives being met. It enhances the ability of managers to allocate limited resources using established priorities. Perhaps most of all, planning enables success to be defined. The strategic planning process includes several steps which are listed on the slide. These include conduct a situation analysis, identify a strategic opportunity, determine the marketing objectives, describe the target market, formulate a marketing strategy, establish the implementation plan, and determine evaluation and control parameters. We'll talk more about each of these steps. The first step in the planning process is a situation analysis. The situation analysis details the current problem or opportunity the organization faces. It includes analysis of the organization's internal and external environments such that the organization's resources and capabilities can be considered along with competition, customers, and environmental issues. The situation is useful for identifying opportunities, evaluating strategic fit, and anticipating threats for contingency planning. 3 models are prevalent in conducting situation analyses: the SWOT analysis, the PESTLE analysis, and the 5 forces analysis. The SWOT acronym refers to strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that the firm should consider as it crafts a strategy. The internal environment refers to the strengths and weaknesses of the organization, the controllable elements inside a firm that influence how well the firm operates. The external environment consists of those elements outside the organization, the organization's opportunities and threats that may affect its choices and capabilities. Unlike elements of the internal environment that management can control to a large degree, the firm can't directly control these external factors, so management must respond to them through its planning process. The figure on the slide illustrates the organization of a SWOT analysis. To adequately assess opportunities and threats for a SWOT analysis, analysts may use the PESTLE model to review the major macro environmental factors affecting an organization's situational context. The political environment includes taxation policy, government stability, and foreign trade regulations. The economic environment includes the general state of the economy, consumer confidence, unemployment, disposable income, interest rates, and exchange rates. The social cultural environment includes demographic patterns, lifestyle trends, norms and values, and elements of shared culture. The technological environment is influenced by new discoveries and capabilities. The ecological environment captures concerns related to the state of the environment, environmental changes, and minimizing environmental damage such as water, air, land, and energy issues. The legal environment covers issues such as regulations related to production, distribution, employment, and taxation. Porter's Five Forces model is an analysis of the microenvironment in which an organization operates. It reveals which players have power and therefore is useful for assessing threats and identifying possible partnerships. The figure on the slide illustrates the forces and their influence on the attractiveness of the market. They include competitive rivalry, threat of new entrants, threat of substitutes, buyer power, and supplier power. The organization must determine the strategic opportunity it wishes to pursue. This may be a new business model, a new target market, new products to offer, or tactical shifts to increase margin, market share, and/or sales and profitability. Two models are especially useful for identifying strategic opportunities. These are Anzoff's Market Opportunity Matrix and the Jobs to be Done Growth Strategy Matrix. Anzoff's matrix is shown on the slide. It classifies strategies according to whether they involve the organization's existing products or new products and the organization's existing target markets or new markets. This results in 4 strategic options: market penetration, product development, market development, and diversification. The options must be considered in light of whether they are suitable for pursuing the organization's strategic position, acceptable given the organization's mission, and feasible given the organization's resources. In other words, these opportunities must be evaluated alongside the results of the situation analysis. Market penetration is a strategy by which a company seeks to increase revenues from sales of its present products in existing markets. This strategy may be aimed at increasing usage and turnover, increasing margins by increasing prices or lowering costs, and/or building market share and sales by attracting new customers with lower prices and/or advertising. Thus, market penetration can include both objectives of acquisition and retention of customers. Product development seeks to increase revenues by developing products in the organization's product portfolio while targeting the existing market. New product development is a broad term in that it encompasses the development of innovative, new-to-the-world products and simple modifications and improvements to existing products. We'll discuss new product development further in Chapter 6 of the book. For instance, Netflix has improved its service by enabling customers in areas with limited internet access to download some of its program titles to watch offline. Some of the tactics used to implement this strategy include developing new product features, different quality versions of the product, or different models and sizes. Product development can be useful for creating upsell and cross-sell opportunities for existing customers and for encouraging switching behaviors among competitors' customers. Market development is sometimes called market creation. It seeks to increase sales by offering existing products to new markets. New markets may become viable when disposable income moves into the hands of new groups of buyers, when economic growth or consumer trends favor new geographic locations, and when changing values and lifestyles open up a new market. Diversification involves offering new products and new markets. It is the most risky of the opportunities in the matrix, but related diversification is less risky than unrelated diversification. Related diversification means that the new product is related in some way to the organization's existing business. There are two types of related diversification: vertical integration and horizontal diversification. Experts advise that organizations seek diversification opportunities that utilize their existing core competencies, even creating offer portfolios based on core competencies rather than on products. In the slide, you can see the image of the jobs to be done growth strategy matrix. Remember, the fundamental basis of jobs to be done is that people buy products to help them get a job done. Analysis of company successes and failures reinforces the belief that successful brands are those that help customers do a job better and or cheaper. This observation resulted in the creation of the jobs to be done growth strategy matrix. The matrix explains that organizations can offer products that, relative to the competition, are 1, better and more expensive, 2, better and less expensive, 3, worse but less expensive, or 4, worse and more expensive. A differentiated strategy offers a better product at a higher price. This strategy works when there are customers willing to pay more to meet previously unmet needs. A dominant strategy offers a product that gets a job done significantly better and for significantly less money. This strategy offers a relative advantage in benefits provided and cost. A disruptive strategy targets a population of overserved customers or non-consumers with a new product that is cheaper but not as good as competing solutions. Examples include Google Docs, Dollar Shave Club, and Coursera. A discrete strategy offers an inferior product that costs more to a market of customers who have limited alternatives. The expensive and unhealthy food options in airports are an example. Finally, organizations may follow a sustaining strategy, which means they offer a product that is only slightly better and or slightly less expensive. This is a common strategy, but not one that offers a competitive advantage. In step 3, we determine the marketing objectives. In this stage of the planning process, the planner elaborates on what is expected of the strategy. What are some examples of the basic objectives marketers pursue? Listed on the slide are some of the most common objectives we see guide strategic planning. Objectives should be stated using SMART characteristics. These are listed on the slide. Specifically, objectives should be stated such that they are specific, they reflect measurable variables, they are action-oriented, they're relevant, and they're timelined. In step 4, we describe the target market. Marketing plans must target the desired audience in a meaningful and relevant manner. We've already covered buyer behavior and segmentation and targeting. In those chapters, you learned how to develop a persona and customer journey to capture key insights about the target market. In the strategic planning process, you'll turn those insights to inform strategy decisions. Recall that organizations may target a mass market typically with an undifferentiated approach, multiple segments with a differentiated approach, a concentrated niche approach, or a personalized one-to-one approach. The best method is typically that of pursuing multiple segments with a differentiated approach. But for each segment that you pursue, you would describe the target market using a persona. A persona template is shown on the slide. In step 5, we formulate a marketing strategy. This means that we determine the marketing mix decisions that will operationalize the overall marketing strategy. The marketing mix decisions include decisions about product, price, place, promotion, people, process, and presence. The figure on the slide highlights some of the decisions that may be made when formulating the marketing mix. Each of these will be covered further in later chapters. The decisions made will need to be aligned with the organization's mission and identity and be valuable for achieving the plan's objectives. Because of the contingencies identified in the situation analysis and required by the selected strategic opportunity, the mix decisions may represent minor shifts or substantial design changes. In step 6, we establish the implementation plan, and in step 7, we determine evaluation and control parameters. Once the plan is developed, it has to be acted upon. In practice, the implementation plan may actually represent action plans for each element of the marketing mix and possibly even sub-elements. For instance, the promotion strategy may be operationalized as an advertising campaign plan, a social media marketing plan, and a public relations plan. The final step of the strategic planning process is to establish guidance for evaluating the strategy and tactics and using the information to make adjustments as needed. This means that the organization defines a process for measuring performance, comparing the performance to the stated objectives, and making adjustments to strategy based on the results. We discuss measurement and marketing metrics more in depth in Chapter 12 of the book. All of these steps result in the information needed to create a marketing plan. A marketing plan is a written document expressing the analysis and recommendations developed during the strategic planning process. The plan explains the situation analysis, states marketing objectives, specifies the target markets, recommends marketing strategy and marketing mix decisions, and addresses implementation and evaluation requirements. Table 5.1 in the book provides a sample of the overall marketing plan structure and explains the questions the plan addresses for each section in the marketing plan outline. Now that we've covered the chapter, you should be able to answer the questions that you see on the slide. You should know, what is marketing strategic planning? How does strategic planning vary at each level of the organization? You should understand strategic intent and the models useful for performing a situation analysis. You should understand the models that are useful for identifying market opportunities, as well as the P's in the marketing mix and how they relate to marketing strategy.